Good day, fellow geeks. On this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth, we're going to be talking about One Night in Karazhan, Legion animated shorts, the Tomb of Sargeras, and Demon Hunters. All that and more in this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth. By geeks.
About geeks.
For geeks. Welcome to Geeks of Azeroth!
Hello, and welcome to the show. My name is Tarley, and with me, as always, we've got Britzza and Big Voodoo. How's it going, gentlemen?
It's going good, as always.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
Well, we've had a good 2 weeks off of the show, but of course Britzza got to do his own episode of the Epic Geeks podcast with Coltrane. That was so cool that you got him involved. Always good to hear his voice. He has the voice of a god. So very cool that you guys got him for the show. So if you guys haven't checked that out, check out the most recent episode of Epic Geeks podcast. But anyway, for the last 2 weeks, how have your guys' gaming worlds been? We'll start with you, Britzza.
Funny enough, this is what I was saving for when we were on the show. I'm in a really weird position. I've been playing a lot of WoW, naturally, with the patch. For some reason, I think, like a lot of people, just going into an expansion, the fact that, you know, all the updates are there and you can see the talent changes and it's in there in the live game, it's kind of got me really hyped, really sort of back into sort of tidying up my characters. But the funny thing is that I kind of got to a stage where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to really ever see my garrison again, so I'd like to just, you know, play about with it as much as I can while it's there. And I've actually, started to figure out how garrisons work. So,
now that the gold making has been shrunk from them so much. And
well, we've got less than a month to go, and I'm actually kind of enjoying garrisons. So it's so weird. And I said it makes me feel really happy that I'm enjoying garrisons and I'm actually doing it properly now. But it's really depressing that I've only learnt this a month before it becomes redundant. So, like all things in life, probably. But yeah, at the moment, I've been getting to grips with something that's not going to exist a month from now. So, all good.
Well, in a form, it will still exist.
It will still exist in my memories, and if I ever bother to go back to Draenor. Interesting side question.
Yeah, you can still go there. It's not going to disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would, but you can.
Is there any reason ever to go back to your garrison, though?
I mean, if you're leveling a character through Draenor, I mean, I think they have their benefits then, but, you know, otherwise, no. Absolutely not.
But that's me, anyways. What about you guys?
Big Voodoo? You haven't been gaming
much
at all?
Of anything. I've been binge watching an anime. I've played some Pokemon Go, and, well, I guess I did finish leveling my priest to 100, so I do have another level 100 now.
Shadow Priest is so cool.
They really are. They're a lot of fun to play, too.
Yeah.
Really like the new mechanics, but other than that, yeah, that's... Considering he was 96 already, it wasn't that much WoW, and that's about all I've done in gaming, and about 3 weeks.
I myself have been I've been all over Blizzard games. I mean, I hop into Overwatch every now and again. I still get really salty at the community because they're just so vicious if you try to even remotely touch competitive play. So I stay away from that, play quick play, and Ana is amazing. Or maybe I'm amazing at Ana. My first game with her, I got both of her achievements and was like, okay, she is now my go-to support. Really like her. But I kind of just hop in and out of Overwatch, never really playing more than 2 or 3 matches before I'm kind of tired of that. And then I've just played so much Warcraft. I've been playing all my classes. I kind of hate my shaman now, which I'm sad about because I loved my shaman before the patch. DK is, of course, amazing. Mage is amazing. I'm just having a really good time playing around with the classes. Fire Mage is just it's broken. But I guess something to keep in mind for a lot of people, if you're looking at your specs and you're I really wanted to play this spec, but this spec is just doing so much damage, which is kind of like me with Frost and Unholy DK. It'll all be balanced once the game comes out. They are still finely tuning the classes in the beta right now. It's still all over the place. So if you're just picking a spec right now at level 100 that's doing the most damage, it's definitely not going to be the case.
But I think it's going to be the other way by the time the expansion comes out. They'll just nerf.
I mean, like, because naturally, like, I really want to play Frost DK because of how fun it is, but Unholy DK does a good 20k more DPS right now, and it's pretty.
But
crazy.
You're going to be. You said you're going to do Frost because of the story behind the artifact.
Yeah. It's just way more interesting.
That's where they're luring you in.
Yep. All right. So without further ado, I think we should jump right into news of the week.
Hey, we recording? Yeah. Okay.
News of the week. I do have to say, how about that production value of the show so far? I didn't clamor over what I was saying in the intro. I've got the sounders just ready to go. Finally, we're here, episode 83. Everything's going smoothly.
Yes.
Here soon they're going to start thinking we're professionals or something.
I know. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Mistaken, but...
All right, so jumping right off, of course, World of Warcraft Legion animated shorts are telling the story of Gul'dan and Khadgar. We've got, I mean, they're awesome, right? I mean, have you guys checked them out yet?
Mm-hmm. They are amazing.
The Harbinger shorts is what they're called. So we've learned a lot about Gul'dan that I actually didn't know about. His birthplace, his village that he basically massacred everybody after they exiled him for being a cripple. It's spoilers, I guess. Exile Gul'dan for being a cripple. He finds the power of the Legion, and then, of course, comes back and kills everyone. Mm-hmm. That's why his village does not exist anymore. Cool stuff.
It paints him quite sympathetically, I thought. You kind of...
Yeah.
You feel for him a little bit.
and he goes to the throne of the elements seeking help, seeking aid, and even the elementals turn him away, but the Legion finds him.
They were like, no, you're too low level to begin this quest.
Maybe. But that one had a very dark tone to it, but in my opinion, I think the Khadgar one was just way better. Just the story it was telling, the feel. You got to see Medivh, or, fake Medivh, but still Medivh. And the idea of Khadgar being a guardian was like, ooh, could that happen?
So, I feel like you can sum it up very, very quickly, though. Khadgar's video is... The Legion wants to corrupt Khadgar... And Khadgar's a badass.
Yeah.
That pretty much sums up the video right there.
And he can Kamehameha things, apparently.
Yes.
That whole shot with, like, the glimpse of the future of Dalaran falling from the sky, that was such a cool clip. It's just... the production value on these are just amazing.
I hope that happens. I know that sounds really cynical, but that like a toppling.
Well, can you imagine playing that? Can you imagine playing that, like being in Dalaran as it's falling through the sky? That would be amazing, a bit like kind of scenario or something.
Was it which Avengers film was it where this floaty?
Yeah, the second Avengers. Yeah,
yeah, that like doing that. That'd be cool. Maybe like a dungeon where you've got to like beat bosses while Dalaran's falling out the sky. That'd be really cool. It's not going to happen, but...
And then Khadgar somehow, like, uses the Force, Yoda's that thing, and just holds it in the sky.
Oh, that would be good.
Blizzard, we're giving you gold right now.
Write this down, grab a pen.
I can't remember what the next one is going to be about, but it should be coming out this week.
I know they're going to touch on Demon Hunters soon, so I think it's Illidan, maybe?
Or Illidan, yeah. We'll see. It should be... If going off the other ones, it should be epic.
I mean, naturally, I think a lot of people are more into these than they were the sort of the orc ones from Warlords. Like, do you think they could do more of these, like outside of just expansion launches? Do you think it'd be cool to have patch stuff done this way?
Yeah, definitely. For patch content and stuff, they should definitely do that. Or just all around do videos like this. It definitely keeps you
every
engaged
day
in the
new
story
video.
And what's going on. Come on, Blizzard.
Come on, you got the time.
Let's see. And Blizzard is also doing some more stuff for expanding the story. They've been releasing comics, which if you haven't read that, there is some interesting lore stuff going on. Like speaking of like Magni, the Dwarf King, who we thought was long gone, and the Tomb of Sargeras story podcast. I mean, I haven't actually checked that out. Have either of you guys?
Honestly, today is the first time I've heard about it. But again, I've been kind of removed from my computer for about 3 weeks.
It's I listened to the sort of teaser because I didn't want to get stuck into it because I didn't have a lot of time. But it's something I could probably listen to on a bus. But it sounds great. It's so weird to think that they're actually like putting free audio content out there. They're hitting everything: comics, audiobooks, these videos.
Blizzard's stepping on our toes now.
Turf war begins. So yeah, it's the...
Somehow I have this feeling they would win.
We don't know that.
I think their marketing power slightly outdoes us. But I have to admit, have you guys been reading the comics? Short comics?
I have.
Yeah, without saying it, I was really frustrated with number 4 because of the fact that it just ignores the fact that it's a huge spoiler for anyone who's not actually played any of the content yet.
Yeah, I mean, it is weird that they've come and put this out before Legion launches, because this happens at the Broken Shore. What happens in what they talk about in this comic? So
and without giving it away, like that, like, I'm trying to bounce around it because I really don't want to spoil it for people. But that last,
I mean, we could just say big spoiler alert right now, and then if you don't want to
let's
hear
not
skip
ruin
ahead
it.
3 minutes.
Let's not ruin
I mean, Big Voodoo, do you even know what we're talking about?
I played some of the beta. I've got a good idea.
Okay. I
haven't seen the cutscene.
You did the Broken Shore event, though?
No, I didn't do the Broken Shore event, but I did do the Demon Hunter starting quest line, and
okay.
I'm pretty sure at the end of that you kind of figure out what exactly is going on here.
You know what? I'm looking at the front of the front image of the comic, and it's a huge giveaway for what the spoiler is, anyway. To be honest.
So let's say right now, if you skip 2 minutes ahead in the podcast, if you don't want a major Legion spoiler, King Varian Rin is dead.
Yep. Yeah.
He is dead. And if you're wondering why there's a big empty dirt plot in the Stormwind Park, that's actually where his tombstone will be come post-launch, or come Broken Shore event, because that's where he dies. You do the Broken Shore event, and right at the end, you can tell he's about to charge into these demons, and then cutscene that you don't get to see until the live version, and then suddenly he's dead. But man,
he is literally the worst tank ever. The rage that must have been thrown at him is unreal.
I mean, that's a huge lore event, though, and now Anduin is the king of the Alliance.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
crazy.
Brilliant, because we always said we wanted to see more Anduin and see him develop. And they've obviously got a great story lined up with how he's going to sort of fill that role, and that's what this 4th comic looks like, is him sort of kind of inheriting the throne from his dad and sort of dealing with the pressure of that. But the thing that really confused me is at the very end of the comic, which is not really a spoiler. For some reason, it kind of it jumps like what's set like 50 years into the future or something like that.
Yeah,
to a random point that doesn't really make sense. It's like the Naru and Anduin are about to get ready for a big war, and I guess that's a sign of what's to come. Like 2024.
Are we going to be playing World of Warcraft for 50 years? I mean,
yes.
Who knows? But I mean, it's definitely interesting. I think that Blizzard released this before the Broken Shore came out, because that just, I don't know. I know the Broken Shore is supposed to happen before Legion launches, but I don't know. They shouldn't have released that, I think, in my opinion. They should have released it like the same day or something.
Yeah, well, I guess you can't really do the comic. There's no way to get around that story without spoiling it. But yeah, maybe they could have held back a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, we're tied up on Tomb of Sargeras a little too much. Time to jump for something Big Voodoo can talk to us about. What is this? Something about Karazhan.
1-9 Karazhan, and it's going to be the most fantastic magical party of your life. And that's kind of how Blizzard's marketing this. It's pretty fantastic. It's a new Hearthstone adventure. For anyone who is curious about if Blizzard would heed the woes of the internet on RNG after Yogs are on, they don't care.
Fair.
So it's all based on Karazhan. They haven't spoiled a whole lot of cards as of yet. There is a Druid 1-cost 2/2 beast, which seemed pretty powerful. I mean, it's not like game-breaking powerful, but it's definitely... I could see Beast Druid becoming even more common with that.
I just want to touch on just the whole theme of it. It looks like a fantastic like nightclub party at Karazhan.
Yeah, it's like 80s game show disco party in Karazhan with Medivh.
I think that's a good way of summing it up.
That's all the marketing you need, to be honest.
Right there.
I'm really hoping now that Blizzard continues with this theme, and then the patch 7.1 with the new Karazhan dungeon that we've been rumored to get is all this. It's a night party in Karazhan with 80s style. I mean, it probably won't, but that'd be awesome.
I'd play it.
It's a shame we'd like in the Harbingers video, like Kekar did just bust into Karazhan and find Medivh having a party.
This is how we stop the Legion, through dance.
Title of the show, done.
Yes. All right. So when is that coming out, Big Voodoo, did they say?
August 11th.
That's very soon.
Is when the first part of it will open up. I don't know if all of them... Well, they've never opened up an entire adventure all at once, so it'll probably be August 11th and then the 18th for the next wing and so on and so forth until they're done.
Gives people a good chance to
cool.
get into it before Legion launches, and then, like you say, as the weeks tick on and the wings open up, then it's a nice little distraction if they're getting burnt out from Legion.
Yeah, well, and not to mention, like, the adventures don't really take that long, so you don't really have to be, like, gung-ho into Hearthstone. You just have to have $20 to drop on, the entire adventure.
All right, and last bit of, unless you guys want to mention anything else about Hearthstone.
It looks awesome.
I need to play more.
Yep. All right, and last bit of news, BlizzCon virtual ticket for all of you unfortunate enough to not be going. Sorry, Britzza. The virtual ticket is now available for purchase. And, of course, you get all the in-game goodies and an opportunity to purchase a goodie bag. Why, Blizzard, do you give people these things? And they have gone ahead and shown us what we can get out of this year's goodie bag. And, oh, my God, it is probably the best goodie bag so far because you get a stein, a big stein that says BlizzCon with an X on it because it's the 10th BlizzCon, I believe. That's why there's a big X theme here. But Big Voodoo, you have a look of like confusion, so you can open the notes there and you scroll down, shows a picture of everything that's included. That big stein goblet thing, you get a coaster, a Horde or Alliance coaster, which I desperately need for my desk. You get a set of Diablo die, which is amazing. Dyson. I don't know. Rolling dice.
If there's more than one, it's dice.
Okay. You get a set of dice.
Single is die.
Okay, I mixed that up. But a set of dice in a little bag. That looks awesome. You get a Hearthstone cleaning cloth. You get some kind of StarCraft bauble thing for your car. I think it's supposed to be an Overlord, but really can't tell.
It looks like an
You
Overlord.
get an ETC guitar pick. And you get a blow-up Reinhardt hammer. All of this,
It's fantastic.
I think I'm most excited for the stein and the dice. I mean, that's so cool.
I think there's going to be a lot of Reinhardts going around beating each other up.
Yes, it's going to be a very interesting BlizzCon indeed.
That is.
Hammer down!
What was in the goodie bag last year, Tarley?
Well, we actually
Nothing
got a
this
bag.
cool.
We got a bag, which I still use. I think is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Like a messenger bag that says BlizzCon on it. But otherwise, yeah, we got a blow up like Zeratul sword, and a minifigure. But yeah, nothing this cool. Nothing like a stein.
Let's hope.
Props to you,
That
Blizzard.
set of dice is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, really, I think this year's BlizzCon is going to be epic, because it's the 10th BlizzCon. I didn't even realize that, but I think that'll be the huge theme this year. Maybe they'll get a really big band. I mean, they always get a big band, but let's get all the bands they've had come back and do a mega show. Ozzy Osbourne, Tenacious D, Linkin Park, Blink-182, just everyone.
Headlined by Weird Al. When is Weird Al going to do it? He's just holding back, isn't he? Maybe BlizzCon 20.
Yes. All right. Well, anything else, guys, on virtual ticket or goodie bags?
No.
I need all of this right now.
Which I'm really hoping that I don't miss BlizzCon this year because that would be a huge disappointment.
Did they, on a side note,
I will kidnap you.
Did they mention the in-game goodies? Because I can't.
They haven't.
No.
Yet. I'm definitely looking forward to see what they do for Overwatch. I'm assuming skins, but in sprays. But it'd be cool to see like a BlizzCon themed Tracer skin or something.
My money is on they're going to do a sort
What
of.
if they do a
map for Heroes of the
BlizzCon
Storm.
map? BlizzCon map, and in the map is just the BlizzCon show floor
For Heroes?
for Overwatch.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I guess if you can't be in Anaheim for the convention, you can at least,
Yeah,
shoot a load of people in
man.
it. Which probably isn't a good thing, but...
Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, moving on, it's time for the discussions of the week.
What's a Drena anyhow? Can I drink it?
Discussion of the week.
That's right, it's time for the discussions. Get it right, Zool. Discussions of the week. And we've got 3 things we're going to go over for you real quick. And the first one being the Demon Hunter Q&A that happened just yesterday? No, Friday. Today is Sunday. I lose track of time. So just kind of breeze through this here because they did talk about a lot. They talk about the Demon Hunter talent unlocks. Demon Hunters unlock talents as they level to give you something to look forward through Legion content. So when you hit level 100, you're actually only going to have the first 2 tiers of the Demon Hunter talents. Which, if we haven't mentioned, by the way, Demon Hunters are coming out on August 9th. Mm-hmm. You can, if you've pre-purchased Legion, you can play them on the 9th. But you'll only, at level 100, you only have 2 tiers of talents, but it isn't inconvenient for the players that are playing during the pre-expansion patch, or it isn't convenient, there we go, words, but it makes sense to do it this way, I guess, for leveling them up. So you may be a bit underpowered because a lot of the Demon Hunters' ability or power comes from their talents, and you can see that by playing them on the beta, like the level 100 ones versus you can get a maxed out 110 one with the artifact. Definitely makes a difference having all those talents, but gives you something to look forward to instead of unlocking them all in a span of 3 levels. So,
and you can spend 3 weeks doing your garrison.
Yeah. So, with balanced Demon Hunters will be missing some power at the pre-expansion patch due to not having their talents. Demon Hunters get a bigger chunk of stats that players will get from 100 to 110 early on, so that will help offset the talents. Demon Hunters should be balanced well enough for the short time they are available before Legion, and then balance efforts were focused on level 110, which makes sense. So you're only going to have them for 3 weeks at level 100, so... Unless you do the thing where you don't get experience and you stay 100 forever because you're a hipster. Pre-expansion patch content, you can do the full starting experience, and they play the game once the Demon Hunters are unlocked. You can do the Broken Shore intro with another character, but not with the Demon Hunter. And that's because the Demon Hunter's starting event is happening at the exact same time that the Broken Shore is going on, so that's why they cannot do the Broken Shore event. The garrisons, yes, you can have a garrison as your Demon Hunter. Professions, Demon Hunters will not get any kind of profession boost. And you will have time to use your existing materials to level professions during the pre-expansion patch. It is so easy to level professions right now. You can do it rather quickly. Demon Blades gives players access to another playstyle, but you are pressing less buttons. So this is a talent that is controversial. It's in the second tier that basically takes away... It's a builder spender spec. That's hard to say. Say that 5 times fast. But it's a builder spender, and if you take the Demon Blades talent, it takes away your builder and basically allows your auto attack to build your resource. And that, I mean, I don't know. It's very controversial because it was really powerful for a while to take this. But now the design is to have that be either the second or third best talent in the tier. So it's basically, if you're really bad at World of Warcraft, but you still want to do good damage, to take that talent. But the other 2 talents will be meaningful. More meaningful than Demon Blades. Well, and for a long time, I guess I misread the notes or basically the explanation for what the spell or the talent was didn't specify that it took away that spec. So I was playing my Demon Hunter and I took that talent. I'm like, oh, this allows my auto attack to also build up my talent. Then I could not figure out why my builder ability went away, and I was like, what's going on?
I think for a lot of people, it's going to be hard to transition into such an active class. So this is a nice safety net for people who perhaps, don't want to have to get like arthritis trying to play a Demon Hunter or something like that.
Let's see. They go on to talk about Havoc's survivability. The team is going to make sure that Havoc is reasonably balanced and looking at level 104 talent and PvP talents. Most of the tuning will probably be numbers now as they added to the game. Bigger changes are possible in the future patch, but right now, at least as far as talents go for survivability of Havoc, they're happy with it. I mean, if anything, you can run away from anyone. So, Vengeance survivability. The team will look at the Vengeance survivability and see if anything needs to be changed. It's a tank. I think it's just fine. Big Voodoo, you played Vengeance more than I did. I mean, do you have any problems staying alive?
So I didn't do enough dungeon runs and stuff to see exactly how it would pan out. Or, test it at 110, which kind of is the most important spot for it to be kind of balanced around. But it feels a lot like monks did in Warlords, where
you actually have to be trying to survive.
Yeah, it's a lot of active tanking, a lot of knowing when to use what buttons for what reasons, and knowing when you can get away with not pressing a button. Like it's the only tank in Legion that does that.
Yeah, I was about to say that's pretty refreshing to see, based on like the fact that warriors and paladins can just roll their face across the keyboard and not die. So
yeah, well, and even monks now.
Yeah, monks now too. Yeah,
they feel like a normal tank, and I don't like normal tanks. I like active tanking. It's a great idea, but the downside to active tanks is because there's such a high skill cap. A lot of the times, if you're on the lower end of that skill cap, you feel like a very, very weak class. It's very hard to stay alive and such. So
if you want to be a Vengeance tank, you better know how to tank, and that's why I'm counting on Big Voodoo to carry us through the dungeons. Let's see, lore. Of course, there is some distrust between the Demon Hunters and the Night Elves. They did talk about that a little bit, which will be cool. They're going to expand upon that throughout Legion. So. That makes sense because, of course, Illidan totally screwed over the Night Elves way back when, so that would make sense for there to be some conflict there. Mobility is probably on par with monks, maybe even a little bit less right now, and I can see that because a monk can get across a battleground in about 2 seconds. So, I mean, it seems like they're pretty close. There were some mobility issues in PvP, but most players haven't had the chance to learn to play Demon Hunters yet. Which makes sense. Spectro Sight allows you, they talked about that a little bit, allows you to see stealth characters and see people through walls. You might think that's a little overpowered, especially for arenas, but it does, you are weakened, you are slow, like you're walking very slowly, and it obviously breaks if you take damage. So yes, this will be interesting for arenas. You just pop Spectral Sight if there's a rogue on the other team, and you'll see them immediately. But I don't know, I think it leaves you vulnerable. Showing tattoos, there are no options to hide your chest piece, but Demon Hunter specific gear is pretty exposing of the chestial area. I just winked for those listening. Artifact models, Illidan's Warglaves will not be modified, but the team has talked about allowing Demon Hunters to use the models somehow in the future, maybe allowing them to unlock the appearance for Transmog. What? Very cool. Communication, Demon Hunters can talk cross-faction in demonic language. That can make for some pretty good taunting in Battlegrounds. Let's see. I know we're on unlimited time, so I'm just trying to touch on basically anything here that is important. You do have to have a level 70 character on the server that you make a Demon Hunter. That is a requirement. So class design, they do talk about, yes, it is one of the simpler classes in Legion, but it is a very lore-heavy design, or a very lore-heavy character. Very class, that's what I'm trying to say. So that's something that they definitely focused on. Demon Hunter weapon size, they're joking about it, but Night Elves definitely have bigger weapons than Blood Elves.
They do even say it's not the size of the weapon, it's how you use it. So.
Yeah. They double jumped, almost didn't make it into the game. They were worried about it breaking some aspects of boss fights or something like that, but hey, they made it. And flying, you cannot fly with your wings. There is no glyph that allows you to do that. Blizzard does not want you to do that. Is there anything else on here, guys, that you're seeing that I've missed that is important?
Although it's not...
I think you got it.
All right.
Oh, did you have something?
Well, I was only going to say, even though it's not happening, it's cool that they talked about allowing Demon Hunters to fly. It would make them so disgustingly OP, but still, that does kind of sound like an interesting thing they could do perhaps down the line, like maybe a little hover or something on top of their...
Kind of Aviana's feather. Well, I mean, they can already...
They can flow, I guess. So. But I guess... Oh, no. To be honest, a hover doesn't really give them any benefit to a slow fall, so... Yeah, but Illidan can't fly, apparently. So the Burning Legion Crusade... the Burning Crusade intro lied to us.
Well, he does just float up and hover for a second. He probably fell right down on his face immediately afterwards.
Splat.
Right, why not just make it a mount? Like Demon Hunter specific mount.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Or like Druid flight form.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it, but I think it would look a little silly to just see a Demon Hunter flying through the air, but it'd be awesome at the same time. I don't see why not, but...
Who knows?
Anything else on Demon Hunters, gentlemen? So, yeah, coming August 9th for those who pre-purchase, as well as the Demon Invasions will be starting then as well. Be very cool.
Are you guys... you guys aren't playing Demon Hunters first, are you, for expansion?
Not first. Oh, yeah, Big Voodoo is, yeah.
Oh, fair enough. So, Big Voodoo, what sort of... what spec are you going to be doing or focusing
Vengeance.
on? Vengeance.
It's my tank. Like... Mm-hmm. I need an active tank to play because warriors are boring and paladins are boring and monks now are so boring. But demon hunters are not. I always have a button to press and a choice to make.
On that point, though...
And I can die if I make the wrong one. I like that kind of pressure.
Well, given I'll probably be playing my pally first, Tarley, which direction should I roll my face across the keyboard to do my tanking? Is it left to right or right to left?
Left to right. Yeah.
Okay, I just don't want to get that bit wrong.
And let's see. So, anything else on Demon Hunters then?
They're fun to play. Go play one.
We'll roll into the next discussion. This was planned for last week's show, but we had technical difficulties, we'll say the least. But this is something I wanted to touch on, and you guys can feel free to comment on my concerns for Legion, the things that I guess I'm not too happy with. And, I mean, honestly, I'm very happy with what I've played and what I've seen of Legion, and I think it's going to be a great expansion, but you got to play the devil's advocate every once in a while, so there's a few things to talk about. And my biggest thing is probably gearing. And with everything being RNG and everything having these, like, chance to get higher item levels than each other and just all this ways you can be questing and get mythic gear, it's very strange to me, and I miss currency gear. I personally like if you're raiding and you just don't get any gear that week, at least you know you've been making progress towards eventually getting a piece of gear. So I'm not a fan of the gearing in Legion. I mean, it may work out, we'll see, but that's a concern of mine. Longevity is another concern of mine. You know, we've seen just the past 3 expansions, especially Warlords of Draenor, just having no content post-launch that kept anybody captivated, and of course content droughts at the end of every expansion. And Blizzard has been saying for years they plan to fix it, and they say for sure they're going to fix it this time. But of course we just have to wait and see. We have no idea whether or not that's going to be true. PvP, I think, is going to be up in the air, whether or not it's just going to be rewarding enough to not be getting honor gear, the PvP system. I just haven't done any PvP on the beta, so I just don't know how the talents are going to work out, how balanced it will be. And so I guess it's a concern of mine because it's new. Change. I don't like change. Will it be good? Will it be terrible? I don't know. And again, I'm kind of grasping at straws here because I don't have enough to complain about. I think Legion looks awesome. Anyway, and of course the World Quest system. How long will that keep us entertained? I mean, it does seem cool, but will it be like Diablo, where you just kind of get sick of running the adventure mode very quickly because it just becomes the same thing over and over and over again? They have said that there's like 1,100 or so quests in the game right now, but how much of them are going to be kill 10 mobs, move on to next zone type of thing, like Apexis dailies became very repetitive very quickly. So, I mean, those would be my concerns. What do you guys think? Anything to add? Anything to comment?
Go on, Big Voodoo. I'll let you go first.
Your concerns are fair. And justified, but I'm not sure that they should be concerns with what we've seen so far of Legion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expansion is going to be a great expansion, but we thought the same thing of Warlords before it came out. So,
to be fair, everything we saw of Warlords was amazing.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the end game got there, and then you're like, wait a second, this is it?
Yeah.
What
do you think?
I think on the gearing thing, you'll be playing about, and then you'll find that random piece of legendary loot, and you'll think you're the best WoW player that's ever played the game, and you'll think, yes, this system works for me, great. And I think that's the point, is that it's supposed to get you so hyped up on these rewards, which, to be honest, behind the scenes, like, they will be tweaking the numbers to help make sure people don't get too much of certain types of loot, and that it does feel rare. But I think that the thing with currency loot, and I totally agree with you, I think it's a great safety net, but I think it makes the game a bit stale in some respects, because it's just the go-to thing. Like, my Warlock and my DK, instead of going like and leveling through heroics and raid content, I just did PvP and just decked them out in PvP gear. And it's easy to do that, but I think that currency system drew me away from what Blizzard wants me to do. So I think once you're in there and you're getting these cool bits of loot, you'll be fine with gearing and you'll be excited. And some people might get better loot to begin with, and you might see some people get some really amazing drops, but I think that's the fun of it.
That could be you.
That'll probably be you.
Exactly. And that's
just
thing.
Based on our Diablo times, it'll be Big Voodoo getting all the legendaries and getting all the good gear.
Hey, tanks are important, man.
You'll be eye level 900 by the time we start doing Mythic Dungeons.
On the issue of content gaps, though, and sort of tying this into World Quest, I think they've done probably one of the best jobs we could hope them to do in terms of how the World Quests and the Order Halls are really going to play into keeping us satisfied between patches. I'm really excited by the idea that, unlike Diablo, where it's probably like, I don't know, with Diablo, you perhaps adventure mode, you maybe more often quest with people you're not always aware, you don't always know. But you might group up with friends. But I feel with this, the World Quest, you could literally group up with complete strangers and you're going to have fun with it. I've always struggled with world content because no one's around to do it, it seems, when I'm around. So I'm really excited by that. It's something I've never really done. So I think maybe a few people are in the same boat as me. It's a new world. Doing world content.
Something worth pointing out with the World Quest. I mean, you can hop into the live game right now, open the Dungeon Journal, and then look at the world bosses listed. There are so many world bosses. I just noticed that, and I was like, oh my god, there's I think more than 10, but it's crazy.
They are open to adding more. They haven't revealed them yet as the world sort of evolves and things like that. But I think you're right. But I think a lot of your concerns are coming from like post Warlords than Legion, if that makes sense. And it's right.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm just trying to I'm trying to be devil's advocate, and it's kind of hard because of how excited I am for Legion. I'm just trying to think of something that could possibly be at Legion's downfall. And of course the talent switching. I mean, we can experience it now, and I mean, yes, you can go buy Tomes of the Clear Mind, and it's basically no different than it's ever been, but I just wish you could freely change your talents. I mean, because I'm just doing content right now in the world, doing soloing raids, getting transmog gear, and for different situations, I want to have different talents, and it just sucks that you have to go to the auction house and buy these tomes, and people are selling them for ridiculous prices. And
do you think there's a risk, and this is my concern, that having now the fact that all talents are open, there's no talent restrictions anymore, do you think there's going to be a huge pressure on people to just micromanage the game to succeed? And I don't mean just the artifact weapons and making sure we've got enough artifact power. It's about order halls and making sure you've got enough resources to complete the missions and that you're engaging with those and you're going out and doing world quests. In some ways, I feel a lot of people might burn out on that base alone. That they feel like there's just too much to do to stay ahead of this imaginary curve in the game. and that as a result they kind of think, I can't get the hang of this. I can't keep all my artifact weapons, up to where they should be, or I just don't feel I've got time.
I definitely see that concern, but I think Blizzard has done a good job of just making artifact power, for instance, come from every form of content you want to do, and it comes equally, so you don't feel like you have to be doing everything. You can be doing what you want to do and be getting equal amounts of artifact power. And as far as like doing your garrison mission or your class hall missions and all that stuff, feel like, yes, in a way they are required, because there is, by getting the max level of your hall, you get another slot for something on your artifact, so you kind of have to do that. But it is gated, it's time gated. You can only go so far, like within the certain weeks, before it's going to be another week literally before anybody can start doing the next bit of content. So they are gating people behind that system, so you can't get to it too quickly, or you can't just feel like you do a lot more than someone else to get more power. I think Blizzard's doing a good way of equalizing people's time spent in the game, I guess.
Totally agree.
But still rewarding it at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we agree we just can't find anything bad about Legion.
yeah, Legion's going to be great.
Legion's going to be fun. Go buy it.
We'll have a discussion, of course, come September 30th of like, all right, how's it going, guys? What do we think?
I haven't slept in a month.
That's going to be me. But I'm still trying to figure out how in the hell I'm going to get out of work to play. I probably won't, is the sad thing. But
I've booked off that time off work to specifically play WoW.
I have a new job starting in about a week or so, and so that's like, oh, jeez.
Commitments, Tarley. You're committed to the game. Remember.
I know.
Money, food, jobs. That's all secondary.
I know. All right. Well, anything else on Legion concerns before we do your discussion this week? Mm-mm. All right. So you wanted to talk about World of Warcraft Go, Britzza.
Yeah. This is kind of something we touched on the Epic Geeks episode with Coltrane, because we were talking about Pokemon Go as Pokemon Go. It was, whilst that show did touch on Legion and Overwatch, specifically we were talking about sort of the good and bad of what is this really incredible phase. And whatever your thoughts are about Pokemon Go, the thing I think we can all agree on is that it has opened a door in gaming, simply because it's blended. Literally,
people open their doors and go outside.
Yeah, exactly. People have gone outside. I saw this great comic about what Pokemon Go is trying to achieve, and it's apparently to make sure all the geeks take over the world, because we're just super buff and happy and with all our vitamin D, which could be a thing, to be honest. Maybe that is the thing. But the thing we were talking about was, where could you apply this technology in different ways? And I think Coltrane came up with the idea of, imagine if you could do quests. So, for example, you log in the morning and maybe not like a 3D in the same way the Pokemon appear, but like a little 2D Tyrion Fordring or an Anduin Rin goes out and says, hey, go to this place. It does like gives you a little quest to go and travel places and maybe go and like engage with 3D models, and what it could reward you with, rather than like catching Pokemon, it could reward you maybe like loot crates with like potions and like buffs and things like that.
Or you're leveling up a character, like you're actually,
maybe that's it. I don't know how far they go. Maybe they might stick to like order hall mechanics or something like that. Maybe you get to like boost a mission or something like that just by going somewhere or whatnot.
But what if it actually ties into the live game too? So you set an order hall mission, but you can actually set that order hall mission in game to be yourself, and then you go out in the real world and do it. You come back, and in the game you're getting benefits.
Well, there you go. I would guess that's the discussion. Really, is what do you think
Blizzard
this could do for WoW? I think that's a really good idea. Why couldn't you set like a self mission? It's a bit like your hero going out and seeing going out into the world. I mean, Big Voodoo, what do you think? Do you think there's something we could see with Blizzard, or?
I think it would be wildly successful, and I would have my life consumed even more by mobile gaming and World of Warcraft.
I mean, like, it could be a standalone product on its own for people who don't actively play World of Warcraft, and then still stand to benefit, in the live game, like, just one of your Order Hall followers is yourself, I think that could be awesome.
For example, talking about, I guess, what the rewards could be, I guess, on top of like things just like potions, maybe there's like a chance to unlock a cool transmog for a piece of gear.
Artifact power.
Or maybe, artifact power, maybe down the line. I thought this is probably the perfect expansion where it could have worked, because you could have gone out and taken part in real-world invasion missions with other people. Yeah. So, like, maybe they do a hotspot, and they say there's an invasion.
Instead of gyms, there's world bosses.
Yeah, exactly. All the same thing, aren't they? They're just hubs, aren't they? So you could just go out with other people and like take down, a Legion boss or whatever. I don't know how the combat mechanic worked, whether it be the same as Pokemon, but it just seems like something so cool, and you can just take this really simple idea and just translate it into so many things. I mean, I'm sure it would work for so many other games as well, MOBAs and first person shooters, but
Overwatch go, StarCraft go, Diablo go. Let's do it.
Or just roll it into one. Maybe Blizzard go.
Yeah.
Why not?
Blizzard, come on, we are giving you gold.
In fact,
like we do every week.
Before I mentioned it, so how can we make more money?
We had the totem maker, or that banner maker profession that we had discussed a few weeks ago that Blizzard should do. Now we've got World of Warcraft Go. I mean, Blizzard, come on. We know you watch. We were featured on your website. So, come on.
On a side note, though, I mean, do you think... It's really easy to say, oh, maybe they should just do it for battle pets. Do you think if they're going to do it, they have to do something completely different to Pokemon? Or do you think that they could just sort of literally nick the idea and put a Blizzard spin on it?
Yeah. Battle pets would be the obvious, just the copy and paste, formula from Pokemon Go. But I don't know. I think what we've just talked about would just be the way to go. Mm-hmm. You look like you have something to say, Big Voodoo.
I think they could do battle pets, and it would still be somewhat successful. But I think doing something slightly different would be better. Yeah, would be more productive for them, more beneficial for them.
I mean, really, the game I'm looking forward to is Grand Theft Auto Go.
That's real life,
steal
isn't
that
it?
Car.
That's just being part of the criminal underworld.
No, I mean, I think, Blizzard could definitely stand to benefit from doing some kind of augmented reality, go out with your cell phone, mobile game. The same idea of Pokemon Go. It doesn't have to be anything like it. Just the idea of going out in the real world and using your device and playing a game is a great idea that Pokemon Go, I think, is just barely scratching the surface of.
Mm-hmm. And worst case scenario, you get to BlizzCon 2020 and Mike Morhaime takes the stage to give his sort of opening address, and everyone runs outside because someone's come in and screamed, "There's an Ashbringer skin outside." So, it could bring us all together, but it could also tear the community quite literally apart. So,
on that note of BlizzCon, I mean, I can't wait to see how many people are just walking around catching Pokemon on the convention floor.
What happened?
Yeah, I've gone and reinstalled it too. I had said before I uninstalled it, and now here I am, hopelessly addicted to the game. I mean, it's
just like, I mean, it's so terrible in all reality. Like, you would never play a game with so many glitches in it.
Oh, yeah.
If it was anything except Pokemon.
Yeah, that is very true.
But other than the glitches, like, when it runs, it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, apart from this latest
getting it to run.
update, apparently people's accounts are getting reset and things like that.
I'm glad that didn't happen to me.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up our discussions, unless anybody has something else to say about World of Warcraft Go.
If Blizzard wants to send commission to us, I'm happy to provide a bank account.
Oh, thanks, Britzza. You'll just take it all.
I'll share some of it with you.
Well, do we have any shout-outs then to wrap up the show?
I'll do a quick shout out to Coltrane for joining us last week. That was really cool. And by all means, if you haven't heard the show, go and check out Epic Geeks episode 29. Because we talk about some World of Warcraft things as well. And he's pretty hyped for everything. Let's say that.
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to, I think it's MeerkatX, yes, on Twitter. Thank you for the shout. You gave us a shout out to follow me and Britzza. He forgot Big Voodoo, but thank you again for the shout out on Twitter and the shout out back. Follow MeerkatX on Twitter. He's always tweeting about our show and other World of Warcraft stuff.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't handle the leet speak.
No one can handle the lead speak.
All right, well, thank you all very much for listening. As always, you can check out our show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Twitch. You can catch us on Twitter at Geeks of Azeroth. You can find me personally at Tarley_pause. That is with a Z, not an S, if you're confused. Britzza, where can we find you?
You can find me at Britzza_EG.
And Big Voodoo, let's hear your elite speak for Meerkats, because he forgot your Twitter handle.
At B1GV00D00.
All right, there it is. The elite speak. You got to change it sometime.
No, never.
Yeah, never
Big Voodoo was taken, man. I'll become famous and then get that handle from whoever was the jerk that decided they wanted to be Big Voodoo.
All right. We look forward to that day you become famous. You can always contact the show with messages, questions, shout-outs, solutions for how Big Voodoo can become famous. Send all of that to geeksofazerotheg@gmail.com. And remember to check us out, www.epicgeeks.co.uk, for all the other shows we do, like the episode of Epic Geeks Podcast featuring Coltrane. Otherwise, we'll be back same time, same place next week. Everyone have a great week in Azeroth. Yarr!
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks Network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.